Ted Cruz with the fire, bringing the fire to Jack Dorsey, lighting him up. Woo! Spicy. Earlier today, we saw big tech CEOs testifying, and it's kind of funny. It's cathartic watching Ted Cruz call out Jack Dorsey and say, it's not true, you're lying, you're wrong, all those things. But Jack Dorsey, and I'm not trying to be mean to Jack on this one, but he looked like he was just, well, I want to say stoned, but I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. Just more nihilistic. So what I mean is, Jack Dorsey was just like kind of half glazed over look, long beard, like he's not shaven since the last time I talked to him. And Ted Cruz is like, who the hell elected you to ban this kind of speech in this news? And Jack Dorsey's just like,
no, we don't do that. Our policy says, and we think it was a mistake. And
he just really was checked out. I'll tell you what, while it felt good to see Ted Cruz tearing into Twitter, and Ted Cruz did have a lot of facts on his side, it's just not enough, man. Come on. I can feel that righteous indignation. You're coming at the big tech billionaires who are suppressing the little guy. But what's really being done about any of it? Nothing. Man, I love it. Jack Dorsey basically said everything he said, what now, almost 2 years ago when I was talking to him on Rogan. What was that? Early 2019, was it? Or was it? Yeah, it was early 2019. Isn't that crazy? Was it 2019? Wow. Time flies, huh? He's saying basically the same thing.
We need a better process of appeals. And, it was a mistake to ban those news outlets.
And then Ted Cruz snaps and he's like, you still have them banned. And then he's like,
well, they could delete the tweet and then tweet the exact same thing.
It's like, dude, remove the restriction. You admitted you were wrong. And now it seems like Twitter is saying, well, they could just delete it. Nah, that's you being like, we're in charge still. I tell you what, man, it's funny seeing the leftists defend, the Democrats and the leftists defend massive multinational billionaires. It's the weirdest thing to me. I guess for me, though, I can't stand tribes. I really don't care for them. Never did. Didn't care. I actually quite contrarian. So, I'm always just like, if you're a hypocrite, you're wrong. I don't care. And that's always been kind of my thing. Calling out the hypocrites, the liars and the stealers and the cheaters, etc. And right now I see Republicans are calling out big tech and calling for regulation. It's a good thing. I should say regulation in a certain sense, because a lot aren't. A lot of these Republicans are in the pocket of big tech and are just like, well, I don't think we need to do anything hasty. Oh, yeah, shut up. These people are just giving into the billionaires. But the Democrats are totally on board because they're getting what they want. They're censoring speech they don't like. And then you get leftists saying, but Tim, a private platform. Dude, y'all were just like a few years ago complaining about major corporations. Don't come at me with defending my private platform. I'm not interested. I am about regulating corporations that are violating the rights of individuals. And I don't care who those individuals are. So my shout out to Jacobin Magazine, because they defended free speech. Jimmy Dore, leftist, defends free speech. Absolutely. And anybody else, any other progressive, conservative, otherwise. You see, you really get to see who's in favor of principles. Like, do we respect free speech, or are they just saying it because they want power? And here's what I see from the tribalists. Right now, you've got people on the right totally for free speech and saying, we got to do something about what's going on with these big tech platforms. It's not fair. And they're correct. It is not fair. And the Democrats are saying, yeah, well, they're only saying that because they want power. And I'm like, and you're only saying that because you have power. And when it flips, you're going to come to me and say, but Tim, aren't you for free speech? Yeah. I heard Facebook was suppressing Think Progress recently. They shouldn't be doing it. Dude, is it so hard? Too many people live in this tribal reality. And that's why I think, to throw it back to Ted Cruz, I can respect it, his outrage and him calling out Jack Dorsey, but it's performative, man. It's performative. What are you going to do? What can you do? Probably nothing. We've got Section 230. We need the House. We need the Republicans. There's no alignment. Nothing will get done. Nothing's going to get done. And I'll even say this. I was criticizing AOC because what did she do? She named post offices. And in my conversation with Vosh the other day, he's like, to be fair, not a whole lot has gotten done. I'm like, that's actually a fair point. Okay, I try to be fair. Nobody's agreeing with each other on anything. Okay, so the House is putting bills forward, and also, to be fair, in the other direction, AOC could still be proposing and drafting bills. Instead, we get the Green New Deal, which is a mishmash of garbage, which makes no sense. But a lot of the things coming from the House, from the Democrats, are going to the Senate. Mitch McConnell's like, no, kicking it back, and nothing's getting done. That's why everybody hates Congress. That's why I'm like, just get rid of all of them. But I think we have a very serious problem with tribalism right now. And that's why, a lot of people are probably cheering on Ted Cruz lighting the fire on Jack Dorsey, figuratively, because it feels good. But I'm just looking for solutions, man. I'm looking for ways we can guarantee everyone the right to speech, be that left, right, up, down, whatever. And I'm not convinced it's going to get done. And I think, to be completely honest, Democrats and Republicans as a whole, like the bulk, are totally okay with restrictions on speech. I think Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Matt Gaetz, et cetera, there's many Republicans who are like, this is bad, we should do something about it. I think most of them are probably like, I don't care, I don't know, whatever. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think I said it in 2018. Republicans are too stupid to realize this will destroy them and they will never win again. Now, Ted Cruz is not. Ted Cruz is smart. He understands this. He's been paying attention. And there are many other Republicans who have. But they're actively fighting against Democrats who are calling for more censorship. Let's give you the bullet points on this one. Who the hell elected you? Ted Cruz tears into Twitter's Jack Dorsey for still censoring tweets about Hunter Biden's emails as Republicans slam him. Facebook and Google for bias. And he admits conservatives have lost our trust. I'll tell you what the problem is, Jack. You need to hire a conservative who can tell you why your rules are broken. It's kind of amazing to me. I'm not a conservative, never been a conservative, probably have some views that align with conservatives for sure. And I told Jack Dorsey his rules were biased years ago because he didn't understand it, that when he has a rule on misgendering, that doesn't make sense to a conservative. They don't agree with that idea of misgendering. And then he was like, oh, you have a rule that only fits the leftist view. He's done nothing. He does this hearing. He's like, here's what we have to do better. And he's done nothing. So I don't think anything's going to change. And I think this just means that it's going to get worse. Free speech is going to get curtailed. Big tech is slowly taking over. Jack Dorsey said it when I was on the show with Rogan. They're beholden to a global audience. And so they're trying to make a one-size-fits-all policy for everyone, which you can't do. The rules for America got to be rules for America. They say the Senate Subcommittee on Communications, Technology, and the Internet summoned Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg. I talked about that earlier. The big tech leaders were questioned over how they handle political content as Republicans claim they censor conservative voices. They literally censored the New York Post story because it made Hunter Biden and Joe Biden look bad. So don't tell me it's a claim. The hearing comes as social media sites blocked a New York Post article revealing details of Hunter Biden's hard drive, prompting fury from Republicans and Donald Trump. Ted Cruz, the Republican from Texas, tore into Dorsey, accusing him of wielding power without accountability. You mean without accountability? Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC? Ooh, spicy. Silencing views to the contrary of your political beliefs. Cruz shouted as he joined in a remotely hearing. Okay, listen. Jack Dorsey denied this.
And he's like, we don't censor people based on political views.
You do. Your rules are based on your political views. He just doesn't get it. And maybe it's on purpose. Maybe he'll never learn. Maybe he doesn't care. The far right. Got to ban the far right. I think one of the funniest things to come out of my episode, the podcast show with Vosh, was that Vosh called me far right. I think it's hilarious because I'm actually a center-left independent. But because I don't like Democrats, far right, even though I'm not a staunch nationalist, actually very much in favor of international cooperation and to varying degrees, certain trade deals and fair trade and things like that. Pro-choice, pro-progressive tax, pro-immigration, far right. Yeah. Perhaps it's because y'all are authoritarians. The Democrats have become extremely authoritarian, while Donald Trump certainly has some authoritarian tendencies. Sure, fine. He's acting within the confines of the laws with executive orders, etc. And we can criticize him when he says things, and I have. I remember when Donald Trump recently said the cops came in, saw the guy, they knew who he was, they didn't want to arrest him. 15 minutes, it was over. About the guy Michael Reinl, implying it was retribution. Because Trump said retribution before. I criticized that. I'll criticize it now. That's horrifying. We can't allow that. But I tell you what, man, you got cronies in big tech Trump fighting against. That's good. You've got a corrupt cultural establishment pushing a fringe, freakish ideology. These are bad things. Got to be shut down. Sorry. I just don't think Donald Trump is a fascist. I don't think he's going to stay in for 50 billion years. I don't think he's going to have 3 terms. I think the left has gone nuts. And so for me, it really just becomes I'm focused on what I think is the bigger issue. And that's the Democrats and their cultural problems and big tech billionaires. It's not the one guy who happened to win the presidency who everybody hates and who gets screamed at all day and night. You can't go a day without hearing someone say that the orange man is bad, right? And thus, I kind of feel like y'all got that in check. Now the problem is the unaccountable, the billionaires, the wealthy, the Democrats, big tech, not getting taken care of. And they're like, well, Trump is worse. He's objectively not. He's just not. I think you can say he's bad. He's not that bad. But I'll talk about big tech taking the commons, media corruption. That's bad. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all next time.